What is happening, everybody? My name is Beth, and welcome back to Every Day is Spooktober. Now, today we have got a review, obviously, and as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, that film is Bones and All. Once again, I feel like I'm going through like a phase here where like all these films are very underrated or just like not really talked about enough. But yeah, Bones and All came out not that long ago. In 2022, and I believe it came out slightly later in the UK, but it didn't stay in cinemas for very long. This definitely was more of like a US, I think, release, and then they brought it over here in the UK, and then maybe it just didn't really it didn't do well, like, to be honest with you, like, as someone who sees the numbers and works in a movie theater, like, yeah, the numbers didn't do well at all. And I'd say it was in theaters for like a week tops, which is really funny because the reviews aren't awful. Like, it's not like, it's a bit more than a mid film is what people have been saying about it. But yeah, I really wanted to go watch it, and I just never had the chance because it was gone like that. Like, it vanished and it wasn't in the theaters anymore. So I was scrolling through Prime Video the other day, and they put it on Prime Video in the UK. So if you haven't seen it and you're watching this review, go and watch the film and then come back here, because it is definitely worth the watch, is what I'll say. It's a long watch. It's an over 2-hour film, which, for those of you who have been watching my videos, I'm not a fan of long films. I do think it could have been shorter. There was a lot of filler that I don't think we needed. But yeah, it is a long film, so be prepared for that if you haven't seen it and you're coming back, and yeah. But anyway, we're going to be talking about Bones and All, which obviously, if you're watching this, you know, is about basically people who eat other people in order to survive. You know, it's a very much like love story with a bit of like violence and gore and manslaughter and all this stuff, like, and cannibalism. Like, it's a lot of different things in one film. In my opinion, like, don't get me wrong, I mean, as much as horror is my thing, I do not mind like a cute romance film, depending on what it is. Like The Notebook's a banger, obviously we can't deny that, but like, I don't mind these sort of creature feature romance films. Like, for example, like Warm Bodies. I was obsessed with Warm Bodies when it came out, and I mean, I still am. Like, I absolutely adore that film. So this was giving me similar vibes to Warm Bodies in terms of sort of like the layout and the structure and the type of film that it is. I think in terms of this film overall, I thought it was interesting, it was engaging, it was too long, like I've already said. I think another big thing that let it down is, after I watched it, I realised that this was actually originally a book. And the book is slightly different to the film from what I read up, and I think you find this with a lot of films that are adapted from books, is that obviously when you're reading a book, all the information's there, you're reading it, you're understanding things, like, with a film, you can only kind of take in so much, it can only kind of say so much, and this film didn't have a ton of explanation and dialogue as to what the actual sort of meaning and story is behind these people who have to, in order to survive, they have to drink blood from humans. Like, obviously it's a very vampire-esque idea, but apparently these people aren't classed as vampires in this world. And I just don't think we got enough context to it. I found that this film it was very dramatic. There was a lot of intense emotional scenes, for sure. But I think this film heavily relied on, like, slow-mo shots, zoom in on people's faces, dramatic music in the background, rather than getting some kind of imagery or explanation as to what is going on. I think the entire sort of mystery of following Marin around, her being, both of her parents disowning her because of what she is, her trying to figure out life on her own and basically getting abandoned by her family, and then obviously meeting Lee, and then her whole story. I think it's a fun journey that we go on with her. It's, like I said, it's really engaging, it's dangerous, it's fun, it's romantic. Like, there's so many elements that go into this film you know, that if you don't have to be a horror fan to love this, you don't have to be a you know, a romantic movie guy to like it, guy, whoever you are. You just, you know what I mean, like, there's a bit of something for everyone, I think. I don't think this is too intense. In the UK, this film is rated an 18, and I don't really know why. There wasn't really anything that crazy in this film that shocked me or was too much. I think maybe it was just pushing the rating of an 18, but yeah, like, it wasn't that crazy in my opinion. I thought the gore could have been amped up. I'm surprised it wasn't. You know, and in terms of like language and stuff like that, like, it was pretty sort of mid, as you'd kind of find in a 15 rate film. So I was a bit confused on the rating for it. But you know, it's not going to be for everyone, and not everyone's going to like it, let's just say that. This is a love story, and I think it's a very different way and different take on a love story, which I think, like, reading the book, you would understand so much more. And I mean, maybe that's like a marketing technique where people like make, you know, adaptations of the film so that, but they make it quite brief so that they want people to go back to the book. Maybe that's a marketing thing, I don't know. But yeah, for me, just coming off as seeing the trailer, looking interesting, and then just going in sort of from that, you know, there was so many questions and so many things that didn't make sense or make a ton of sense because of the lack of dialogue and explanation, like I've said. So yeah, I think that really just let the film down. It was kind of disappointing because I did have higher hopes, mainly because of the rating. Like, the rating on IMDb for this is a 6.8 out of 10 currently. So I'm a bit confused because I think a 6.8 is pretty solid, but in my opinion, it didn't live up to a 6.8. Definitely lower than that. You know, I think all the performances were interesting though. This is definitely one of those films where, like, you're entering a completely new world, so things are different. This is how this works, this is how this works. So it was cool to explore that. I did enjoy it. Like I said, I love a good sort of creature feature romance film. Like, they're kind of fun and goofy. I think the acting was really good. Like, Taylor Russell plays Marin, and I know she's from the Escape Room series, which, I mean, I'm a really big fan of as well. Those are really fun films. She killed it. You know, I think she's a very just natural actor, and she's capable of a lot as an actress, and I think she does a really good job of that. So yeah, really liked her performance. Timothy, who plays Lee, I'm not going to say his last name because I don't want to butcher it, but I really liked the character that he played as well. I know he's been in a few other things, and I think I've seen him in them, but, like, you know, when you just kind of don't notice someone, and then, yeah, I might have to go back and revisit the other films that he's done. But he played a really fun character in this one. I really liked the bond that Marin and Lee had, and I think, you know, you could tell that they were very comfortable with each other. And I think that's, like, a big thing in, like, romance films, is, like, when you're two leading actors in a romance film, they have to be comfortable in order for it to be really authentic and natural. So yeah, you know, a bit of commentary on the romance here, although we are all about the horror. Yeah, I think all the acting was good. I think Sully was a really interesting character as well. Really off-putting guy, and I knew from the beginning when Marin saw him, I was like, I don't trust this guy. I do not trust him. And right at the end, I was like, I knew it. I was waiting for that the whole film, which I thought was kind of fun. Because it made it come across like he was just a nice guy and he's alone and he just wants someone to connect with, like Marin is connected with Lee, which is fair enough, but he comes across very weird, sketchy, like, creepy guy that you just don't want to be near. So yeah, I think the guy who played Sully was really good as well. All very good performances, like I've said. You know, I could definitely see this being like a cult classic in the future. Like I said, this isn't going to be for everyone because you know, it's literally about people eating other people. So yeah, that's not obviously going to be everyone's cup of tea, but you know, I still think it was different, it was fun, and it was a journey that we went on with them, and I enjoyed it, you know, I enjoyed it. So I think for my rating for this film, I'm gonna have to go with a 5.5 out of 10 for Bones and All. I really wish there was more context to this world. I wish we had, like, not necessarily spelled out to us, but I just wish we had some more information about eaters and like what they are and how they became, and and just seeing like how these creatures work, because in this I think we were focusing a lot on the romance that we didn't get to explore as much as sort of like these weird people that are cannibals. Like I wanted to just know more about how they are, how they live, how they started, how, you know what I mean, like, what happens if this happens. Like I just wanted, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at a second one if we explored them more, but yeah, like I think that was just the biggest thing that let the film down, and for me didn't give it as high of a rating as it is, which I'm still quite shocked about. But I mean, it's still a decent film. Like I said, I don't hate it. I think it had a lot of potential, and that advertising technique I was talking about earlier, it may work because I kind of want to go read this book now. Maybe stay tuned because I might have to read the book and give my thoughts and review on that as well. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next review.